Hi guys, I'm Shmee, good morning and hello to you. Today is road trip time. I am heading down to Megeve in the French Alps. It's about 1,050 kilometers away, 650 miles, and of course, the weapon of choice for today's journey, the stealth beast, the AMG GT R, also known now as the Schneemobile, and it might be finding some more snow as we get there. It's a ski resort in the mountains. I'm taking all of my gear naturally. It's quite a long drive. The longest drive I've done in this car up to this point was 750 kilometers from Frankfurt back to London. So about 300 Ks more, solo effort today, so quite a long one to go. Starting naturally rather early here in London at the moment. We'll see how the journey goes and what it's all about, but basically I think this is really kick-starting my mission to turn this into one of the highest mileage AMG GTRs out there, if not the highest. It's already on 3,100 miles. By the end of today, clearly it will be on about 3,750, but after this I'm going to Frankfurt, then I'm taking it over to Munich, down through the Alps again to Italy. Later on it's going to be going over maybe to Budapest, Vienna, some other places. So really the mileage is going to be clocking up thick and fast, but that is what these cars are made for. And this is my first journey with it since going to Dub Customs and literally transforming it into the stealth beast of the Black Hell. I know the name's getting a bit long and confusing, but we gave it the black grille to go along with the black wheels we did at Posh Wash, black handles, black rear light surrounds. Basically, it just looks badass, angry, and awesome. But I've got a number of bits of gear today because I'm heading to the mountains. I will take my skis with me, my ski boot bag, some clothes, you need some clothes, laptop bag and all that kind of jazz. We'll see if we can get it all in fine into the back of this car, but I can imagine it should be without problems. So I will crack on with that and get the car loaded. First things first, the back of my car is very prepared for going to the mountains. We've got screen wash, you probably never know when you need that. We've got a hilarious mitt for wiping the windscreen with a scraper that you can keep your hand in if you want to keep your hand warm, if it's been parked outside. Some cleaning cloths. I have got a dyno plug in case I have a puncture on the way, and I have got an OBD reader in case anything happens, although in this car you would hope not. And then of course first aid kit. I've got some high-vis jackets and all the other bits and pieces you need in there. But for loading this car, you can get rid of that and then basically put the skis straight through the back. So let's see how that goes. This is the first time that I have put skis in here, but I think they can go in just like that. I'll have to find a way to tie them in properly to make sure they don't scrape around or damage that carbon strut, but it seems to work out completely fine. Then it's just a case of loading up all of the other luggage and making sure it holds in a way that it's not going to be sliding around, because nobody likes sliding the luggage on a long journey. Car packed, and I found a pretty easy way to do this actually. It all fits back there, but if I use that bag to stop the skis, they can't slide anywhere. That blanket is protecting them. So we are all set then to jump in and get on the way to a ski trip in an AMG GT R, exactly. Using this thing for literally every purpose. So let us get it fired up. Yes, very nice. Okay, radio down. Time to hit the road. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and this is going to take me about 12 hours. The part of driving in central London that nobody likes, stop-start traffic jams. At least we do have stop-start on the car to be slightly more fuel efficient, but the sun has only just started coming up. I tell you what is nice about this journey today though, is that the sky is very, very blue, and I was expecting to have horrible weather. I think by the time I get to the other end, it's going to be really, really heavy snowfall, and if not snowfall, then it's going to be driving rain, depending where the freezing limit is. Obviously I'm going up the mountains to a ski resort, but it's quite a low ski resort as they go. So fingers crossed it stays dry for as much of the journey as possible so that I don't have too much delay or inconvenience, but this is definitely going to make me slightly later for my Eurotunnel train than I would like. So whereas on recent ones I've actually been on time pretty much every time, I think today unfortunately I'll be a little bit behind, and I don't have a full tank of fuel either. I'm going to have a couple of fill-ups today, which is kind of interesting I think, just as I start doing more miles on this car, because we're going to be able to see what it costs to actually run and to use it as a car that's maybe going to do, dare I say, 20,000, 25,000 maybe miles in a year, maybe some more depending how far and wide it actually ends up going. But we've got a lot of journeys ahead of us. It's a very comfortable car to be sat in, as I talked about when I did my long drive back from Frankfurt, because I personally find bucket seats really, really supportive, especially these ones and also the ones I have in the McLaren as well. I think, well, I injured my back quite badly about a decade ago. Unfortunately, I broke 3 vertebrae, which was a bit of a horrible incident at the time, and it means that often I can get quite uncomfortable in a car. So a car like this you'd think would be really stiff, but I actually quite like it. Anyway, that is very bright sun now in my face, but we are on our way out of London. driving through Camden at the moment, heading from my home in West London across through East London to actually escape the city is awfully stressful. I'm not gonna lie, it is really sunny. I was not thinking this was how today's journey was gonna be at all. He says he has to move lanes. I'm basically cruising on adaptive cruise control here, which works so well in these cars. It wasn't that long ago that these systems were utterly useless, but you literally just pick your speed and let the car do its thing. And this car is so transformative in its different characters. So when you're cruising along like this, it's very, very light, it's very easy, it's very gentle. Obviously, I've got my Waze running because you always need that on a long journey to make sure you avoid all the big traffic jams on the motorways. But it just cruises along. What I know is that when we get to the mountain roads at the other end, this thing is going to be in heaven. After I finally broke free from London, there has basically been no further traffic, which is very nice. But here we are at the Eurotunnel, so this is a game of fingers crossed and see how late I'm going to have to wait. So I am 34 minutes after my train, unfortunately. Let's hope they push me onto the one later rather than a significant delay. I've given it my number plate, so it should recognise us immediately. Press check in, fingers crossed, checking your booking. Last time I was in the Focus RS, I went in the normal carriages. This time we're back in the wide carriages, of course, because this car is basically as wide as a Lamborghini Aventador or something. So it's, yeah, so we were going to move on to one later. That's absolutely fine. So it would not even fit in the regular carriages, let alone be possible to potentially avoid curbing the wheels. So off we go. Next stop, I'm going to go straight to passport control and the like. It's a bit early in the morning to stop for my usual Burger King, and then cross over to France, where I'll fill up, grab some snacks and things, and continue. This has been a super smooth Eurotunnel journey. Turn up to the station terminal, straight through passport control, straight into the train, and we will now make the 35-minute crossing over to France. Here we go then. So we are touching down into France. The navigation says 888 kilometers to go to get to where I am heading. It is saying 2017 arrival time, which is just fine. That's about 7 hours 45 minutes from now. So fingers crossed this is an uneventful journey, although obviously for the video it'd be nice if it was eventful, but I would rather it goes by smooth sailing. Let's see what 8 hours in here is like. Oops, the camera ran out of battery. I haven't charged them up since I've been filming some other bits and bobs, but obviously I carry tons and tons of spares. However, I was saying it was 2017 arrival time. It now says 2013. Slight recalculation coming out in a different direction. Obviously I've put the car into kilometers an hour, Waze into kilometers an hour, and we're all set to hit the road. I don't really need to stop other than for fuel. Outside of that, it's going to be straight, go, 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 don't waste any time. So let's see, firstly, how economical the car is and how far I can get out of a complete tank in one range, and then see how quickly we can do the journey. So, game on. You join me 300 kilometers later. All is going pretty well, actually. We're down to an arrival time now of 20:01, 1 minute past 8 this evening. So shaved off about a quarter of an hour so far, including a fill up. It's actually been literally 305 kilometers since I last stopped. So this is completely one hit. Just as long as I don't need any more food or any toilet stops, I'm gonna go as long as I can until I need to fill up again. It should be, I guess, about 550 kilometers on a tank in this car. It doesn't have the biggest fuel tank in the world. It is reasonably efficient, but the combination of not being hugely efficient with a fairly small tank means that you need to fill up maybe every 350 miles. Not as short or regularly as a McLaren, let's say, but then not quite as irregularly as even the Ferrari FF managed. But that's not too bad, because realistically, how often do you do 350 miles or 550 kilometers in one single go without stopping? It's not exactly a regular thing to do. I'm going to try and do it today though, just for a bit of fun, because the auto routes here in France are completely empty. I've got my télépéage toll tag, so every time I go through an automated télépéage machine, I've got this thing I just hold up to the windscreen. You can attach it to your window, but I think it looks ugly, which lets me go straight through the télépéage zone, so I've not had to come to a stop to do the tickets. Like I said, I've not stopped since my first petrol station stop for any food or anything other than that. I'm just kind of interested to see what it's like to do one massive stint sat in this seat. I mean, it'll end up being 4 or 5 hours without getting out, I guess, or about 5 hours still to go of the journey, but otherwise all is well. That was it really, just an update, a mid motorway update. I'll catch you again when I'm a bit further on. Well, I have just done 500 kilometers as I arrive at the slip road to head in to grab a bite. And the car's telling me attention assist, take a break. Well, I will take a break any moment now. I'll run in, get myself a Red Bull, wake up, get a full tank of fuel, and then we shall continue. It's about 370 kilometers to go, but so far everything's gone remarkably well, to be honest. Gentle cruise. It's a little bit wet here, but I haven't had any rain that I've been driving in, fortunately. So just a tank of fuel and on we go. The journey started as the sun was going up, and it's still going on as the sun is going down. I've still got about 2.5 hours to go, but I've been told it's actually clear at the other end. Well, it's not necessarily the best weather, but the roads are clear rather than snowy, which was the worrying bit. Maybe the last final stretch we'll be driving on snow, but this car handled it fine before, so fingers crossed it will handle it fine again. But otherwise, it's actually getting a little bit busier as I get further south. I'm heading now towards Grenoble, and then you go towards Geneva, and then you go past Geneva, but staying on the French side rather than going into Switzerland. If I went into Switzerland, I'd have to buy a vignette, which of course I will do, because I'll be back there for the Geneva Motor Show in about 6 weeks' time, 6 or 7 weeks' time, which is kind of crazy. It feels like that's ages away, but it's really not. There's just a lot happening before then. Otherwise, though, this car is doing everything I could possibly have asked of it. I haven't yet worked out the fuel economy of that previous tank, but maybe you guys can. I did basically precisely 500 kilometers, like 500.5 kilometers, and it was 64 liters of fuel. So you tell me what that is as a miles per gallon figure. Somebody will have to get a calculator out. But anyway, I might fill up just at the final stretch. I will make it without having to fill up again, which is cool. But then I'll have a car without much fuel in it, and that's annoying, because the next time I go out I'll need to fill it up beforehand. But otherwise, it's all kind of effective. The other costs you have to think about doing a trip like this is obviously put the winter tyres on. The road tolls, you spend about 100 euros in tolls for the French auto routes on the way down. But it's not, that's about it. And then it's just consumables on the car to drive that distance, 650 miles each way, technically, if you were coming back again. And what that costs in terms of servicing. This car will need its first proper service at 12,500 miles, which is going to come around sooner than I would ever have thought, that's for sure. I wonder if it'll be like the first AMG GT R to have its 12,500 mile service. I know that some cars were delivered up to maybe 4 months before mine, the very first ones. I wonder if I'll get there quicker. Let's see. Well, I'm off the motorway, now in the towns at the bottom of the valley, heading up towards Megeve, which is where I'm going, so it's about 15 more minutes of the journey. The car has just clicked over 6,000 kilometers, which is kind of cool, so my mission to make it the highest mileage AMG GT R seems to be going pretty well. 6,000 kilometers already, when you consider that I've only been able to even be in the same country and drive the car for about a month and a half's worth so far, because I was in Dubai for ages and all the other places that I've been as well. But this is the final stretch. It was just snowing a moment before I started this video, but it's not at the moment. There's no snow down here, but I gather there will be a little bit further up, so let's see how that progresses. But all's gone pretty well, to be fair. There's not that much to really tell you about. I know that's a little bit boring in a video because we all want drama and excitement and craziness, but it's going to have been about 11 hours all in, maybe 10 hours 45 door to door, which is pretty impressive, to be fair. That's not that bad, given that that's, I think, about what Google Maps says. And normally you lose a bit of time with the channel crossing and that kind of stuff. So, all well, let's just find a last little bit of snow. I want to drive on some snow today. Now, I know it's really quite dark here, but one of my favourite things about coming to ski resorts is that naturally going up the mountains means twisty roads. So I'm going to pop my car into individual mode, which is set up to be a bit noisier, a bit sportier, and potentially a little bit slippier as well. But let's take it a little bit carefully, because as you can see, there is now snow here. It is white, and I don't want to stuff this into the side, and it's very dark and I can't really see very much, but oh yes. That sound is so good. might not be crazy fast, but I can tell you the concentration is completely in overdrive at the moment, just because I do not want to mess this into the concrete walls either side of me. It is very slippy and it is incredibly dark. However, this car is just hilarious. Here we go then, some actual snow, although so far so good. No problems driving along here. Look at that car park either side of me though. I'm not necessarily sure I want to go in there. I'd probably end up grounding out on it all. So I've got to work out where I am actually going, and I think it might be up here, which would probably be a problem. Okay, I'm driving up a very steep, very snowy hill. If I had to stop now, I would have to go back down again. But we're kind of doing all right. This is really actually surprising that this is fine. Just don't want another car to come the other way. That would make this all go very, very, very wrong very quickly. Anyway, are we here? Here we are then, I've made it. I'm at the chalet where we're going to be staying. That final bit though, up the hill, had me a little bit worried that it could go very wrong. It was on the very sketchy end. In fact, actually, this last bit into the driveway of the chalet was probably the worst. But the car is here. Supercars on snow always look amazing, especially when they are this stealthed out and dark. I think the contrast between the car and the ground underneath it is really quite nice. So yeah, what do you think of that, guys? What do you think of how it looks? This is really going for the highest mileage AMG GT R, the proper daily driver that is now a complete and total mess again. Sorry, Topaz. Apologies to the guys. Maybe we'll be bringing it back again for a proper clean up. But we're out here. The ski slopes are, I think, just here somewhere, so very easy to get to. 6,000 kilometers is now done on the car. There are some very nice roads around here to enjoy driving. So before too much more snow falls, the car is going to come into the garage. We've got a hire car just behind me that we're going to pull out. And obviously, keep that one tucked away for the moment. But yeah, fun drive. 11 hours or so. I got here at 19:47, if you'd like to know exactly. So I beat the Waze time, or the navigation estimate, which is always a nice, I don't know, it's just a fun little competition you set with yourself, isn't it? It's been 1,052 kilometers in total, the drive, and I have filled up. I haven't filled up again because there's still about 200 kilometers to go, actually, which is completely fine. But there we have it. A long journey out with my daily driver, the Schneemobile, the Schmeemobile, whatever you want to call it, the AMG GT R. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you're subscribed. Hopefully I'll take it out and enjoy some more roads around here in the next couple of days. Anyway, I'm freezing. I'm going to go indoors. I will leave this one there. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.